Hey guys, welcome to Flipcast. In this episode, we're chatting with Paramjeet Singh Mehta. He's the marketing head for consumer PC and gaming at Asus India. Paramjeet's been in the marketing space for over 10 odd years. He's worked for brands like Tata and Panasonic. He's also led Asus India in their marketing to get 3x growth in their market share. Now, he's passionate about marketing, but what I feel he's more passionate about is driving innovation into marketing and using marketing to achieve all the business goals that they have, but also build deep consumer love and understanding. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Varun. Thanks for inviting and giving this opportunity to me. Thank you so much.
When I look at Asus in the market, you're number 2 in the space of consumer notebooks. But what I actually want to ask you is that how do you see the journey of Asus coming to this point? Because we often don't talk about consumer notebooks as much as we talk about all the other stuff happening around the ecosystem. I don't want to start off with that.
Varun, so we started here in India 15 years. I think it's been 4 years of orbit shift journey for us, where we started with a lot of changes in the back end. Back end, when I say, it's the product development side. And I still remember 2018, we had this product, ZenBook Duo, with a dual screen coming in, and it was the world's first dual screen laptop. And we had Gal Gadot as our brand ambassador. And we started with some of the key aspects. The first one was the consistency in communicating that we are delivering meaningful innovations to our end customers. And it's not easy. It's like translating complex technology feature set to a very simple benefit statement to the end customers. And we did this, and what happened is that around 2018, we were a value brand, and now we are a young brand that is in search of incredible. So this is the orbit shift journey for us. The second thing was that we focused on the consumer experience. And for example, let me quote 2 examples here, one from the offline business side and one from the online business side. Offline, for example, the customer searches our brand stores, right? So they are available on Google My Business. They can search. They can also come to our website, and on our way to buy, one can also check which product is available at what store at a particular moment before, let's say, finding the direction to the store. So this we've enabled, and this requires a lot of integrations in the back end. And when it comes to, let's say, the online business, we worked with Flipkart, where we worked on very small, quick 1.5 minute videos, where the original product is showcased by our technical product team in a way that, what are the ports available, whether it's a, let's say, 1 centimeter thin device, how does it have a HDMI port? So those information, details are given in that short video to the end customer, and that device is, let's say, it's a gray device, or it's a silver device, or olive green, whatever. So it's the same device. So we've done that. So these things we've enabled. I think the last one here would be that consistency was the first. Second was that we worked on consumer experience. And third was that we have enabled a deep consumer engagement, worked on communities, and we worked with tech gurus and all those people who enabled this complex feature set explanation to our end customers. So we worked with them, and it was most of it was organic, because what we did, that because of our product development, they had this curiosity to get hands on to the product, and we utilized that. And with that, as we speak right now, 70% of tech gurus talking about IT hardware products, we occupy that space.
As you were talking about all the things you kind of done through this process, makes me kind of think about the fact that even if you went like 5-7 years before, this level of customization for a consumer wouldn't have even been possible, right? And they've actually been able to drill it down that far. I actually want to take a step back and ask you something. Through your journey as a marketer, how have you seen or how have you added these aspects as you've evolved in your own professional journey? Because learning how this can actually work for you to connect with the consumer, to be able to sell to them, to be able to customize and build that relationship, requires some level of internal rewiring as well. How have you progressed within your own journey to kind of come to this point?
Okay, so Varun, we focused on first, I think what has changed is people is the most important aspect of whatever we are doing as business here in India. And when we talk about, let's say, people, then there are a lot of skills which have also evolved during this process. Skills when it comes to marketing as well. So there are modern marketing skills which are there. For example, digital is a complete paradigm shift. So the skills required to enable a digital strategy, let's say, put in a digital strategy has also changed for us as well. So we worked, let's say, with baby steps as well. And for example, let's say, one of the most important factor for us was that how do we get to all the placement channels here in India? So if I divide the overall IT hardware industry and the channel placement channels, then there is around 30% goes to the branded stores. Another 30% goes to the multi-branded outlets. Then there is 35% to the online or e-commerce partners. So way back in 2018, when e-commerce giants like Flipkart had already cemented their position, and let's say there was a case study that the way they sell smartphones was exemplary, right? And for example, Flipkart's Big Billion Days. So the number of smartphones they used to sell at that time as well was a completely different scale. So what it got to, most of the sectors, still resisted themselves, because still, let's say 60 to 70% placement channel was general trade or organized retail. So there were hiccups to join e-commerce, right? However, we started earlier. So we started in 2018 because we wanted to grow ourselves and also test ourselves whether the early adopters, because the shoppers are all around India. However, the e-commerce or retailer giants pulled in the early adopters, right? And they also sort of conditioned them and gave them an experience that made shopping easy, right? So that was also done. So we started way back in 2018, 2019. I still remember it was Big Billion Days, and we invested in Flipkart ads, and we emerged out as the biggest player in the online market share then, way back in 2018. And after that, we've consistently maintaining our position as the biggest player. And first it was, let's say, the pin codes level targeting, then it was intent based targeting, or getting to high intent customers. And now even with the use of technology, because at the end Flipkart is also a technology brand, so they have pulled in the let's say buyer persona as well, right? And that can also be, or let's say a buyer group can also be targeted. So yes, opened up a lot of, so this was also one of the steps that we took that time. That was the right step, and we moved from just 4% market share overall to 18% now, right? So it is a huge journey.
What has this growth also made you realize about the consumer themselves, right? Because we always have a perception of a consumer which might not necessarily be what the reality is. In this strategy and the returns it's kind of shown, what has that taught you about how the Indian consumer, especially in this category, has evolved?
Yes, there's a lot of change now. So consumers earlier preferred desktop machines, and they were bulkier devices, and we were the first mover We brought in a lot of thin and light devices. We brought in dual screens, foldable screens, multiple screens, and convertible devices, right? And also we did one of the biggest change in the industry, that was bringing in a feature set, which is, we call it, let's say, we sell at the same price, but we give additional advantage to the customer, right? So let's say if the leadership pricing is around 50,000 rupees, at that price segment, we offer an OLED display as well, right? So this we started doing, and with that, what we achieved is that we created an understanding with the customers that Asus is a young brand, because we were ready to experiment, right? We were ready to sell online, right? And also offer customers different type of devices and use cases. So one of the biggest thing that we thought was coming up here in India, and when we talk about the changing customer usage behavior, it was one, the gaming community was emerging here in India, and if I quote 2017-18, it was 100K as the overall total addressable market here in India, and now it's 10 lakhs, 1 million, 10 times in just 4 years. It has completely changed, right? The second thing was that because of this, the social thing which was changing the lifestyle as well of the consumption side and also the influencer side, right? So this also emerged during that period. And what happened is that this creator community also evolved. And let me also give you one another understanding, which is that the India is going to be the biggest outsourcing market for 3D animation, game development, coding, and whatnot. So all these services which require a skilled computing understanding is going to be outsourced to India, which means that the creator community will be the biggest here in India. And it is already one of the biggest and community here in India.
I think just to pick up one point from what you said, what I feel this also leads towards is how your devices also played a strong game in just how the gaming ecosystem has evolved, right? Because you talk to or you meet any gamer out there, I would say in most cases they will be using a device made by you. Can we talk about gaming, take a wider lens and look at the gaming space in India? And what have you seen as almost misconceptions that most people have about it, but actually how is the landscape for anyone who has no idea about it in the space?
So gaming is an ecosystem where it's dependent completely on the lifestyle, right? And it's a lifestyle business. And what we see in gaming is that you have to be first, highly skilled in terms of, let's say, your IQ, right? Your reflection, right? At such, normally a gamer starts at a young age of 13, 14. So these reflexes are very good and they remain good up to, let's say, 25 years of age. And that's the space where people, or let's say, there is a higher engagement with the game as well, and also there is a rush of adrenaline at that time as well in that age group, right? However, when we look at gaming, it enhances a lot of skills, right? It enhances your, for example, the IQ to make decisions inside the game as well, and also to be patient enough, because there are strategy games. It's not just first-person shooter games only. So there are strategy games. There are games that require to play in groups with teams. So it also builds in a lot of camaraderie and also an understanding at the same time that yes, if someone has better skills and you didn't practice much, then you are going to fall prey to their skills, right? It's something like cricket here in India, right? So when we talk about this ecosystem, so there are publishers at the start, they develop games, and in the end we have the gamers, right? A casual gamer to esports competitive player. So in this complete ecosystem, we are also there. We are a IT hardware company. We develop devices that can pull out the performance required to play that particular game, which is often called AAA, which means the best game which requires high performance integrations. And also when you put in a lot of high performance feature set into a device, right, in a small form factor, then it heats up, right? Where would the energy go? So we are the best in industry when it comes to intelligent cooling mechanisms, right? Right from the the way we design the blades of fans to adding cooling material inside the device. So we've done all these things, I think, in the past complete decade. And now, because on account of that, we are world's #1 gaming laptop organization. Republic of Gamers is the brand, which is a sought to brand by Gen Z, even millennials like you and me, because we played Street Fighters earlier, right? Capcom is the publisher here, and popularly known as ROG as well. So we have ROG devices which are equivalent to the top premium or luxury devices or luxury cars as well across the world as well. So that's how we have created that the power in a device is added to enable gaming level for the esports or a gaming enthusiast. So that we've done.
And the reason I want to go deeper into gaming also is because I feel that there's a broader cultural shift, right? You have consumers who are, at a young age, gaming such a part of their day-to-day life that then that directs the kind of, let's say PC they're purchasing or the device they're purchasing. And as they get older, they transition from that to being lifestyle gamers, but whatever profession they might choose beyond that, if they're not sticking to just gaming. And that makes a broader pattern of what they gravitate towards. Do you feel a lot of your customer customizations that you've been able to provide, being very customer centric, you're looking at this as in the long term, saying these are consumers with us for life? Is that how you kind of build a connection with them?
Yes. So to give an understanding how we connect with the community here is that we provide the high-end gaming devices or creator devices. At the same time, we involve inside the community and build engagements. So for example, to quote, we have one of the programs called ROG Academy, because India is still, let's say, we have 1 million customers every year. However, the esports is still a lot behind than US and China here in India. So active gamers are around 47 million, whereas if you look at the overall digital population here in India, it's more than 500 million, right? Even on YouTube, we have more than 250 million active subscribers. So in that program, we have this incubation program where right from the understanding of what esports is to making you a professional player, with giving you the right equipment, training you for 6 months under a thoughtfully designed curriculum with a coach from outside India. And normally we invite applications for that. There is a complete selection process which is around 1 month long. So we receive around 2,000 applications, out of which we select 6 team members. So normally the games we've selected, for example, the popular ones, CSGO or Valorant. So these are 5x5 games, and we have the 6th person as well, because we in this 6 months period we also give them an opportunity to go and play in championships as well. And what has happened is that many of the times they have won the championship, and most of the players have joined the esports formally as well. So how is it helping the overall ecosystem is that there are right now more than 700 companies working in the gaming industries here in India, right from development of games to agencies that do the events as well. So we are also inside the community helping the gamers to also evolve. So we also do gaming events, at our stores as well, at various events as well. So we are also helping the community.
And if you look at the gaming space in India, there's the entire PC part, and there's a bunch of them who do it on smartphones, which is an entire different set there. And there's always been this question about saying, one second, you have both these almost, and there's consoles, which is, I think, placed somewhere around these. But is there a way to kind of intersect all of these? Because there are, for any gamer, there are things you enjoy, things you don't enjoy with each of them. How do you bring these worlds together? Has there been a thought process as a company to say, how do we kind of connect the dots so that today, if I'm a gaming consumer, I get all the stuff I want in one device?
Though it's difficult. However, as we look at the data, right now, smartphone has penetrated heavily and close to 90% penetration, whereas PC is around 9 to 10%, and gaming consoles are only 4%, which gives a relatively fair idea that smartphone is the first thing that the gamer gets an access to. So with this smartphone, a gamer's sort of a gaming life starts, right? And they start playing on smartphones. They get an idea of the rich content and engagement with the game. And once they have completed a skill level, which is obviously smartphone, the next skill level is PC, right? So there is a transition, and as per many reports, we've seen that 24 months is the time period where a smartphone gamer finally moves to a PC gaming because of the skill level change. So PC gaming requires a different skill level, and also the games which are developed on PC started earlier. So for example, if we look at CSGO or GTA, so all these versions are like 10 or 15 years old, right, in the ecosystem, and gamers are playing, right, one generation to another generation. So this is happening in PC, wherein smartphones, it has just arrived. And with the capabilities increasing in smartphones, especially the refresh rate, which is, I think, 90 hertz is something which is required to play, to get a better experience, was made available just 2 years back, right? So the overall ecosystem understands that if you have to get into serious gaming, then PC is the place to go.
When you kind of look at this aspect of it as well, do you kind of also see the fact that as a category, how you market technology is evolving a lot? And I think obviously there's a lot to learn from the gaming space, but in general, if you look at this category, do you see that there's a trend that is almost directing how the rest of the marketing space markets to their consumers?
Yes, there is a slight difference. However, that difference is very important for the industry and sector. The difference is that the product marketing piece, which is the complex feature set, converted into or translated into a very simple usage benefit to the end customer, is important. So I'll quote an example here. So let's say we have a laptop, right? So laptop may have multiple features, right? One of the features that we exclusively had for around 2 years was we came up with OLED display in our devices, right? So OLED is a feature. Then it may have multiple attributes. It may have, let's say, low blue color emission from the screen or the display, which is very harmful for the eyes, right? Then the contrast ratio or the response time. So let's say there are like these 6-7 attributes. Finally, what from our industry perspective, let's say if I'm going to position this device to students, right? Young students. So young student is the user. However, I have to build a communication for the for a, let's say, millennial couple, right? To make the millennial couple understand that if you buy OLED device versus the other device, we will ensure one thing, that the harmful rays emitting out of the display
Yeah.
will not be there,
Yeah.
right? So our positioning will be that this device comes with OLED display and it has 70% reduced
Yeah.
harmful rays that can, so that your child can, invest more hours, longer time on its project,
Yeah.
right? So it changes. So there are multiple features when it comes to gamer. Then obviously performance,
Yeah.
or let's say the cooling side, or let's say the way we integrate a gaming understanding inside the device has to be positioned or has to be explained. So
Yeah.
at the same time, all the laptops look the same. It might have it will have a processor, it will have a graphic card,
Yeah.
integrated or otherwise, some display features, some other hardware features, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the product marketing becomes central.
Yeah.
What benefit has to be communicated to which segment, right?
Yeah.
So this is important in our category.
You've hit on a very, one of the things that fascinates me the most is the number of cohorts consumers are broken into in
Yes.
today's world, right? There was a time when those cohorts were much shorter, much smaller because this only that far is where you could reach them. But now you've broken it down so much more. How do you look at your entire cohort set and say, okay, this is like you gave a few examples, but when you make the master and then you're pushing it down to everyone, how do you look at that process of saying this is the core creative, but this is how we kind of pushing it across to different cohorts?
Again, it becomes complex because what is happening while we are, creating devices, meaningful innovations, the ecosystem is also coming up with different innovations.
Yeah.
When I say ecosystem, it's let's say Intel,
Yeah.
Nvidia, Microsoft. Right?
Yeah.
These are also working at the same time on creating meaningful innovations. So as Asus, as we are a technology brand, what we ensure at first is that we communicate that we are a technology brand, number one.
Yeah.
And obviously we are a young brand, right? So we need to communicate these two first. And then whatever segment we, or let's say whatever people set, I should say, because when we say target audience and these, it creates a complex understanding between a brand and
Yeah.
and our customers, right? So those humans who are there, right,
Yeah.
in different sets, we have defined those sets. But at the end of the day, there has to be something on top, as you rightly mentioned. And on top, we think from only one lens, that how can we be meaningful with our, even let's say slight changes to the device or major changes to the device. For example, we made a foldable device. How is it meaningful to the end customer? So on the top, let's say from a communication perspective, we ensure that we talk about meaningful innovation as umbrella. And then when we go to a particular consumer set, then we, from their interest point of view, we talk about what we are presenting them. For example, to creators, we say that when you use our studio devices, it will be running an Adobe suite better, let's say 45% better, 50% better because of these reasons.
Yeah.
Or we've added a physical dial with which you can control functions under your design or creator application. It could be AutoCAD, it could be Adobe,
Yeah.
it could be Lumion, it could be multiple other softwares which are in use right now.
How does this differ from, let's say, the core cities or metros versus non-metros? Right? Because as much as there's the India and Bharat conversation, there's also a bit of a discussion in terms of, okay, how does the core metro audience and how does the non-metro audience really function? And how do you treat them as consumers?
Yes, it's very important here in India because there is one major understanding globally that India is one of the biggest English-speaking population, right?
Yeah.
And it would be fairly easy to just put across what has been said elsewhere in India as well.
Yeah.
However, it doesn't work that way. So when I say it doesn't work because we have cultural nuances, different aspects to it.
Yeah.
We have regional understandings. Let's say from a north to south region, completely different. East to west region, completely different. And then there are buying patterns inside the country as well. For example, Onam only occupies, for example, Kerala. It occupies 35% of sales in Kerala, right? You do whatever you do in Diwali, nothing will happen in Kerala. So, from communication perspective, what happens is that we have to design a communication in a way, and also our complete go-to-market in a way that it suits the cultural nuances. Number one, let's say the language, and the consumption as well. For example, the tier 2 cities, as you rightly mentioned, and there's a misconception as well. For example, we thought that gaming would work better in Mumbai. However, it works better in Gangtok, right? So we have more customers in Northeast and Ahmedabad than in Mumbai. So there's a complete different understanding of customers here in India, and you don't know that what you would get when you enter into a particular, let's say, tier of India, or let's say region of India, completely different. So what has to be planned has to be planned from, let's say, different aspects. One of the aspects I've already given you, the Kerala case, right? So you plan something in Onam, whereas at Onam July period, nothing happens elsewhere. Right?
That is so true, because you also look at that nuance, but you're also looking at just access, right? I think if you're in a city, you obviously are seeing more options. You have the ability to maybe visit more stores once you kind of go towards a non-metro region. Even the access of what is available might also be something to kind of look into, right?
Yes, and the biggest factor here in India, we are what do we call it? A shoppers community. And all family members, even if I talk about my family, all family members love their own shopping, right? Some shop gadgets, some like household items, right?
Fashion.
Some like fashion, right? But there is a shopping sort of a shoppers mentality within us, right? And to give you an understanding, when we talk about the next level of cities, because you cannot open brand stores everywhere, and one cannot also go and ask a third party, a franchisee, to help you do that. Not possible. So with incoming of e-commerce, and especially e-tailers, and if we talk about the biggest one here in India, Flipkart, they have done an amazing job when building an experience and also understanding to these, I should say, not the early adopters, but let's say finding the early adopter in that smaller city as well, and also building an ecosystem which also delivers, and also you have to have the vendor ecosystem as well, the supplier ecosystem. So they have that as well. And as per Flipkart as well, in last Big Billion Days, which is again one of the biggest live event happening in India, a shopping event, I should say. 15 lakhs is something per second customers coming onto their platform. Every second they have 15 lakh customers, which means that they have already penetrated tier 2 market. And when it comes to a marketer and a global brand coming in, then there is an opportunity to directly enter into 30 to 40% of the early adopters of those smaller cities as well, with the help of Flipkart. So Flipkart ensures that the right product and the customer, they join hands.
You said you had another point to add to it.
One important aspect that I would like to share about how global, I was talking about global brands entering India, and with the help of e-tailer as a placement channel, they can very quickly succeed. The reason is that, let's say if I am into right now, let's say I start a campaign, right? So most of the platforms which are right now available to a marketer, even in the modern marketing ecosystem as well, there is a slight different proposition that retailers bring to the table. So that proposition is that most of the data is probabilistic when it comes to other platforms. So the platform might know that this, let's say the anonymous data, the profile is this. However, when it comes to e-commerce partners like Flipkart, they even know the deep understanding on the buying profile and also buying behavior of the customer as well, right? So with the use of technology, they present an opportunity to the brand and a marketer as well, that you go talk to the high intent customer and establish your brand in no time, I should say. I've seen a lot of homegrown brands thanks to these e-commerce giants, and now these homegrown brands have become on the global level, even let's say number 2 brands globally as well, number 1 brand globally as well in certain segments. And this wouldn't have been possible if the e-commerce giants didn't invest in technology, right? So creating that experience online. We all had these websites, right? All brands had, but the e-commerce website that they have envisioned, and obviously execution is the most important part. So they've done that as well, and they've also created an ecosystem around that website or application or consumer app that delivers a different experience, better experience in certain cases than even the offline channel as well, right? So one of the better experiences is that you check the device, you don't like it, you return the device. So elsewhere it's not available.
Checking the device brings me to a point about this category, right? Is that it's always been considered a touch and feel category, right? You would buy a PC, you'd want to go to the store, you got to feel it, you want to look at how it is, you want to check the features, you want to check if everything is working fine, and then you get it. How do you transition that experience to e-commerce? Or can you rather?
Though it's difficult from our side, yes, e-commerce players are doing a lot on that. They are working on adding the artificial intelligence of, let's say, using virtual reality to give that experiences. I've also shared with you that how we are also developing content with which we can explain the product to the end customers in a video format. Then there are influencers on the platform explaining the products as well. That is also an, we call it live commerce as well nowadays. So that is also happening, and it is also evolving. However, the main point is that both, let's say the offline channel, whereas the online channel, both have their own good parts. So for example, what has happened post-pandemic especially, customer goes to do the research and product discovery and all the, let's say, research work onto the e-commerce platforms, comes to our store, gets hands-on, sometimes buys directly from the stores, and goes back to e-commerce and also purchases there. So right now, if you look at the Indian market, then we have large format retailers that focus on try it concept, right? Touch and feel. Then we have brand stores where we give the overall brand experience to the customers. Then there are multi-branded outlets that enable a different set of servicing to the end customer. And then we have regional organized retail as well, mostly operating in southern region of India. That placement channel is also available to the end customers. At the same time, e-commerce is also available, right? So when it comes to the touch and feel, yes, with the use of technology, it's under the evolution period right now, evolution phase right now, and very soon it will be, I think the way AI is getting into even the nerves of marketers as well. So we are facing challenges.
Yeah.
For example, this will keep on evolving, and right now, as a marketer, my objective is to give a immersive experience to the end customer. That's why when it comes to explaining the products, I would certainly use Flipkart as a medium to give out the knowledge to the end customer, because now after pandemic everything has changed. So people don't search products directly on their browser. They come directly to Flipkart or other e-commerce websites or applications. So this is changed completely. So now the e-commerce players occupy the major share in terms of product searches happening, right? So that shift, as a marketer, I need to use to my advantage, and obviously to my customer, I need to give them the right information, detailed information, specific information of their benefit usage on Flipkart as well, or e-commerce as well. Yeah.
You mentioned influencers. I think that's a great way to build that feeling of touch and feel, because you're looking at another human who you built a certain trust with, because a lot of them have trust with their with their audience. Would you have any examples of how that's kind of built a stronger consumer connection for you with your consumer by using influencers?
Yes. So how we look as a young brand to our customers, we are already into, let's say, 30 years into this business. From a leader in motherboards to a leader in gaming laptops and or creator laptop. This is our journey, right? And 30 years is a good amount of time in the ecosystem. Still we look young. The reason is that as a brand, we were the first, I think a decade ago, started working inside the communities and along with the opinion leaders inside the community. So this we started way back a decade ago. And now, right now, we give priority to this subject inside when we come to marketing media to be taken, let's say, which medium we should use to say what, right? So influencer is an important aspect to us. So we used to call it KOLs, right? Now the term influencers has overpowered KOLs or key opinion leaders. So when we work with key opinion leaders, the most important aspect is that we look towards their personality, number one, that what is their personality trait. Second is what is their audience set. Third is the content that they publish or share, on which they gather engagement. And the fourth important aspect is that whether the influencer matches to the brand vibe. Let's say we are in search of incredible, right? And incredible comes from within, right? All those influencers who have worked their way out, getting to the influencer level, let's say micro or mega, whatever level of influencer they are. So that story has to be interesting to, have our interest in them. So one of the examples I'll share with you is comes from the recent one we did for ROGLI. So we had the campaign as play all your games because of the device's capability. And the influencer that we went for was Surya Kumar Yadav, Sky, right? The Indian cricketer and the topmost worldwide T20 player. So why we chose Surya Kumar Yadav? Because he also can bat, 360 degree. He can also play shots behind the stumps as well, even hit a six, right? Not an easy task, right? Not a normal cricketer. He is a different player. So the device we've launched, ROGLI, it's a different device. It can play all your games, right? So the connection at the first level, at let's say even thinking of who would fit in. So we thought, yes, let's utilize Surya Kumar Yadav. And what happened is that we did this video with Surya Kumar Yadav, and he talked about, let's say, how can we do, let's say, the team asked him or the members asked him whether we should go for chicken chili or whether we should go for some dosa. He said, why shouldn't we do both, right? Because he is Sky, right? He plays different shots. With that video, a normal video that performs in a collaboration with Surya Kumar Yadav generates around 4 million views. We generated around more than 11 million views with more than 5% engagement. And we showcased that this device and Surya Kumar Yadav are same, right? And when Surya Kumar Yadav is saying that this device is also, different, like the way I am in cricket, so people believe that.
Looking at the broader set of influencers, right? They are many of them who are consumers of your product. Some of them who look at it as aspiration, but also as they've grown their own social influence and they're moving into this space, they might want to say, okay, how do I work with a brand like Asus? What do you look for any of the influencers you work with when you're plugging them into a campaign of yours?
The most important aspect is obviously there are mega influencers available with which if a brand works, obviously they can create an impact. However, it is also important that the brand touches upon the niche segments inside its own category. For example, for us, it would be gamers and creators. When we talk about creators, it's one of the most difficult set of influencers to find, creators, right? So for example, if I want to have someone who is done really well in interior designing, right? Someone who uses an AutoCAD, a Lumion, right? That's an application which is in use by most of the interior designers, architects, right? A lot of other softwares as well. So where is that influencer, right? And if that influencer has achieved even, let's say, 100K subscription, so I know that those 100K subscribers are all either amateur interior designers, or they look forward to that influencer to learn, right, this skill. What it means to me as a brand is that if I want to sell my creator laptops to the future master creator, then I have to catch the creator which looks amateur online right now, because 100K or let's say even 1 million on certain platforms is a micro level influencer. But when it comes to a very particular specific skill, then that influencer also becomes important to the brand. So I will also quote from another industry. For example, I'm a marathon runner, right? I'm a marathon runner. I run a different type of marathon, which is I go to we call this mountain sort of trail running, right? So if that's the influencer, right? So a footwear brand that is into that particular niche segment right now, there are segments and multiple segments, right? Even in running, you have from marathon, road running, or let's say turf running, or hike, whatever. So that brand would be interested in that particular influencer to partner with that influencer for a long term. If I'm Garmin, right, or if I'm let's say Nike, so I would be interested in getting to that influencer. So it depends on I think the skill, that is also important, and the difficult the skill or the niche segment you are operating in, the better are the chances you becoming a brand. Let's say you'll get the interest from the brand.
Getting the right context of the kind of creator to work with. Looking at everything that's been changing in the marketing space, right? Especially over the last many years, what would your advice be for someone who's saying, once again, this is all the change that has happened, but I foresee a lot more change kind of coming. What would your advice be?
The biggest change that happened is the earlier 4Ps and the new 4Ps. So when I go to different B schools, in my discussions with the students, I tell them that, let's say you attended this B school, and I know that you would get an opportunity outside India as well. But still, I would advise that you start with India. Right? This is the first one, right? So India is the playground for marketers, right? You get all the different aspects. Then when it comes to 4Ps, so earlier 4Ps, we all know product, price, placement, and promotion, right? Now these come under only one, which is project management or program management. So every GTM has these 4 factors, right? Every new product launch, any brand coming to India or elsewhere launching their product would have this project with them. Now the new 3Ps, the first one is people, the second is process, and third is performance. So when we talk about people, so now the people play has increased. When I say people, it's the internal and external as well. When we, I think we were discussing this as well, that now the marketers look towards, let's say, this is a niche segment, this is a sub-segment, this is a different target audience, this is a similar lookalike audience, right? These subjects are coming in. So people is important. The second is process. Right now, the operations are such complex, as I have discussed with you, the different placement channels here in India. So when you go live with a campaign, right, and you have multiple options, you still have outdoors, still have TVCs, right? World Cup coming in, all are gearing in, right, for to get the India-Pakistan match, right? So that will still be there from the old marketers' thought process. Cracking a interesting concept will still be there, but the process is completely different now. So if you don't focus on the overall process that you put across in delivering the go-to market, then the execution will not be there, because the scale is different. It's India, right? So or elsewhere as well, the scale in terms of the resources available, or let's say the detail available, is different. So there has to be process behind it. And the last one, performance. So even now we look at, let's say, even the earlier mediums, right? That we use, right? For example, TV. So now a performance play has come in that as well. After digital coming in. So whatever we do, for example, even we send a product catalog to the store, right? So a marketer would be interested to understand how many end customers are actually taking that home. I've invested so much time in, creating this catalog, right? It talks about the complete brand. How many are taking that back? So we have to add some, let's say it's not digital, you add a UTM code, it will come to you. It is physical. How do you check that how many people have actually taken that? So performance marketing has taken a different understanding now. And when it comes to giving a recommendation to the young marketer, so 3 things are very important. The first one is consistency. So one has to be patient enough, and the long-term sightedness should be there. And whatever the brand starts, right, it has to be consistently done for a longer period. Like the giants like Nike, it has done the Nike way for, let's say, 4-5 decades, right? Intel has done that for 4-5 decades. That's why they are Nike and Intel. So a consistency has to be there. The second part is content is king, right? However, context is God. So I'll quote an example here. For example, the modern day platform YouTube, right? So YouTube is a digital library, right? So the context is, if it's a digital library, then I can go with a detailed product understanding given to my customers or probable customers via that platform. So I should not use, YouTube only for, promoting videos. I should use also so that a customer can go onto YouTube, refer to one of the videos and make a choice, right? So it's a digital library. So the context is important, then your content play will come in. So if your context is, let's say I have to create a digital library of my product understanding, brand understanding on YouTube, then the content will be similar, right? So this is, context is God, right? Content is king, content is smaller. And the third one is, one design doesn't fit all. For example, I've seen a lot of brands get into this, and also young marketers getting into meme marketing, right? So the brand's persona or the brand archetype, right?
Yeah.
It's a adventure brand, go-getter brand, or it's a saint type brand, right?
Yeah.
The aura of a saint, right? So one has to think through that, whether a saint can get into memes on social, or someone, a brand that is young, peppy, can get into a meme marketing. So one design doesn't fit all. So yes, that has to be taken care of.
You just mentioned first party data, right? It's like, your own direct connection with the consumer for you to, as a brand, have that data to be able to build that relationship with them. Have you seen any interesting examples of usage of first party data that people can learn from?
Yes, one of the interesting interactions even I have. For example, these food delivery apps. So there is this buying behavior I have. Let's say I will one particular day I will order, right? So that can be mapped. Let's say I order on weekends, or if I go to my office, right, then I order. Maybe I am a single person and I don't cook, so I order my meal in the afternoons.
Yeah.
Whereas I have a some arrangement with which I have the meal available otherwise, right? So these patterns are first party data, which are data sets which are available with various organizations which are dealing with customers, uh, primarily in the e-commerce space. And one can even picture, let's say sketch the customer profile, shopping profile, and also whether this customer would go for deals, go for a premium device,
Yeah.
would nego or wouldn't nego, right? Will buy at a festive period or buy otherwise. So these details, when mapped with a business objective, right? Say, for example, for a food delivery app, it would be, let's say, how to get more surplus out of that particular individual or a family, right?
Yeah.
So that is important. And for example, I order some food for my kids. Obviously, I won't eat that, right? So food for my kids, and there are data sets available with which I can map that as a first party. So I'll offer them that it's time for a long weekend. Let's enjoy.
Yeah.
Let your kids enjoy
Yeah.
their favorite food. Something like this, a notification going in. So this will enrich the engagement and also conversations between something which is a long-term relation. For example, e-commerce, obviously, it's a long-term relation. You start onto an e-commerce platform, you are there for on the e-commerce platform unless and until there's a better proposition coming in. You stay there forever, right? So this happens, right? So that relation at that continuum can only be enabled with the proper use of that particular data and deep diving into that data, building different, taking out different dimensions from that data.
So we have some quick fire questions for you. I've been told to tell you that you only have 1 or 2 lines to answer every question. Here's the first one. What are the emerging technology trends that you see having the most significant impact, let's say, the next 5 years?
The biggest one would be the use of artificial intelligence on the first party data. That would be the biggest one, and there will be a lot of customizations offered and experiences offered on based out on that data set.
When you look at the evolving landscape, right, how do you foster innovation internally? So you're staying on track and ahead of the trends in the industry.
The biggest part here is that allow ideas to be heard. So once idea is heard, then I think if idea has merit, it will certainly get to the execution stage as well. So idea has to be heard.
Can you share some insights into your vision for the future of technology and how you plan to contribute to that vision?
The biggest part would be to provide, let's say, the education autonomy to masses and we are right there with the IT hardware industry. We'll be able to do that. And when I talk about education, it's not, let's say, the normal education, it's like skilled education, which would certainly help developing economies like India. So this is the most important aspect that we'll be driving with technology.
As consumers shift towards sustainability as a core focus, right? They also have ethical considerations in terms of how they look at it. How do you as Asus kind of integrate these values across your tech products, marketing strategies, etc.?
So being Fortune's most admired brand from the past, I think 6-7 years, we have, I think a couple of years back, started working on the sustainable side of our business as well. And right now, as we speak, even the CU boxes or the packaging boxes come from material that is recycled, or even in the devices, we use the material that can be recycled or has come from effort from an organization that is giving us the recycled material. So that we've already started as an organization.
You mentioned AI earlier. How are you as a company leveraging technologies like AI, machine learning into enhancing, let's say, user experiences or staying competitive in the market?
What we've done here is that we work with the technology giants that work on the, let's say, the lower layer of technology. For example, to quote here, we work with NVIDIA, and NVIDIA in their graphic cards or in their solutions, they have come up with technologies like DLSS, which are AI friendly, and from a game developer to, let's say, someone who wants to work on the deepest and the minutest subjects of AI can work upon. So we work along with them to give the right device integrations so that DLSS as a subject, is delivered on screen as well, or in the computing as well.
Thank you so much, Paramjeet. Thank you so much for coming on Flipcast and for sharing all that you've shared. I think all of us have so many insights in terms of not just this category, but into gaming and everything else around it. So thank you so much for coming and sharing.
And thank you so much for inviting me here. And it was pleasant talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning into another episode of Flipcast. If you want to tune in for future episodes, make sure you hit subscribe and click on that bell icon. And if you want to listen to this in the audio format, make sure you subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, JioSaavn, BingePods. But more than anything else, make sure you keep flipcasting.